base of the fifth metatarsal. If you run your hand or your finger down the outside of their foot, you can feel where that bump is. That's the base of the fifth. Okay, that protuberance, it sticks out. You don't want to do, you're going to do an anchor strip around there, and you don't want to come this way. You don't want it to be distal because you're going to take them and then you're going to compress their foot, and that's going to hurt. So you don't want to do that. So our first anchor is going to stick within their arch or where the base of that fifth metatarsal is. Then it's going to come up as high as when you see the bulk of their gastroc and follow it down, that base of the belly of the gastroc, okay? So you'll see when their ankle comes up and it starts to come out here, and then you can see where the muscle starts. That's how high you want to go, okay? If you go higher than that, you're going to compress it. You don't want to do that, so you want to come just below that. So Erin's got a nice span between her malleoli and here to work with. If it's somebody that's shorter, my calves come down a lot further, then that's just how high you're going to go. If it's someone that has long, slender legs with their calf up here, then you do want to go higher, okay? So don't stop down at the ankle. So think you're trying to support the ankle. You want to take it up over the ankle so that you're supporting that, not stopping down here. Position is all the way up in dorsiflexion. So toes to the nose is what I always tell my athlete. Keep your toes up at your nose. That's where you want it. If they can't go that high, then you just put them as far into that position as they can go. You would spray, so the adhesive spray down. So when you do your practical, you would tell me I'll spray it. And then you don't have to practice in here with heel and lace pads, but this is something that some facilities, some athletic trainers you work with will use. They're just little foam pads. There's usually some type of Vaseline or deep prep or skin lube, they call it, they put on there. It just makes it stick to the skin. So heel and lace, one pad would go behind the heel here, one would go underneath the laces of the shoe. So on your practical, you would tell me, I'm going to spray it, I put the heel and lace pads on, and then you'll start with your pre-wrap. Okay. So pre-wrap again, and it's your job as the clinician to make sure that they stay in this position. If they start dropping down, then you do a few more steps and move them back in their position. All the tape is just going to crunch up. You guys will notice that as you start practicing, okay? So pre-wrap, it doesn't matter on the pre-wrap where you start. I usually start up here at the top, just a single layer. So just overlap a single layer. You can straight spiral it all the way down. That's fine. If it rolls, you can just pull it off. But just a straight spiral then, and then that will give you the length of where you're going to go to. If you come over that, then don't be mistaken when you put that anchor on the bottom. You want to stick with that base of the fifth. So 2 anchors are going to go at top. I'm going to go through it once and talk you through it, and then I'll go through it again a little bit quicker. So anchor up at the top here, and then another anchor. And you're always going to rip them off, each one that you do. The next anchor is going to go down into the foot. This tape is terrible. I usually go right into the arch, so I'm going to take off a length of tape, go up into the arch, and then wrap one of these over, and then the other one over. If you try to start on top, a lot of times with the arch, the tape starts to pucker, and you get a lot more wrinkles. So just stick right up into the arch and wrap it around. So 2 anchors up top, 1 on the bottom. Then you're going to do what's called stirrups, and there's 3 of them. And we're always going to go medial to lateral. Majority of the time, your ankle sprains happen on the lateral side. So by going medial to lateral, you're pulling the foot into a little bit of eversion, which is going to bring those ligaments together. So if you were to go the other way, you're going to pull them into inversion and stretch those ligaments, and you don't want to do that, okay? So there's 3 stirrups, and they come all the way up to the top to latch on tightly to those anchors up there. They're going to almost look like this when you have them on in that 3 position. All of this part is going to be at the same area coming down, but one is going to come up the middle, one is going to go anterior, and the other strip is going to go posterior, okay? And that's what we'll look for on your practical, is to make sure that you've got that fanning. And it doesn't matter then if you go anterior or posterior next, whichever one you want to do. So that one came anterior, so I've got my one in the middle, one overlapping forward. And the next one I'm going to go posterior. So this one then is going to overlap going back. So I've got one up the middle, one this way, and one that way. Then you're going to do 3 horseshoes. Horseshoes are in the shape of a U, so that's what you want them to look like. The last one might overlap a little bit, but they're going to go behind. So your 3 now is going to come from here to here. And you're going to use this anchor to help you. These, it doesn't matter whether you go medial to lateral or lateral to medial. That was too long. Okay, so you've got right on your anchor here, right on your anchor on this side, and you've got your horseshoe. Then you're going to do 2 more overlapping up by half. Okay, so these ones might start to cross a little bit just because of the way that the angle of the foot goes. And you've got your 3 there. Heel locks are next. So just like we did last week with the ace wrap, except we're going to do them with tape now. You can do a half heel lock, so one on one side, rip it off, one on the other, or you can do continuous. So if you did it that way, you're going to cross the top of the foot, angling your tape, because you're going to come this way, remember. Down at the bottom of the foot, make that diagonal and grab the calcaneus and come right back up where you started to. Now if your tape isn't going in the right direction or if it starts to look messy, you can rip it off right here and then start again. Otherwise, keep going. So now you're going to do the other side. Come down, grab the back of that calcaneus and right back up where you started. And then for this class, you just have to do 1, just to make sure that you know how to do either 2 halves or 1 full heel lock. Figure 8 is going to be next. So if you think about the 8, it has the loop at the bottom, comes up in the middle, and a loop at the top to make the 8. This is going to be the middle of your 8. So there's going to be a loop at the bottom and a loop that's going to come behind. So you're going to put on just like you did that first anchor and come on, but instead of ripping it off there at the middle, you're going to continue down the back of the leg, the Achilles there, and where you started. So this would be the middle part. I did a loop here, and then I did a loop up top that came this way, and that's my 8. This is the only step that's not in the book. So the book has all the steps except for this figure 8. Then you're going to close it up. So go right back up to the top where you started and do your single circulars. Coming all the way down, you want to overlap by half. If you leave any holes, you want to make sure that you go back and cover them up because that will cause blisters. And your athletes do not want blisters. You don't want blisters because then you're dealing with those blisters. The last one, you might have to angle back a little bit so that it doesn't wrinkle on you. And then your last anchor, then again, will go in the foot. So then what you want to do is look, make sure there's no holes. Most of your holes are going to be back here or on the side. If you go back and you see a hole, then put tape over it and cover it up. Or if you've got a hole up here, if you can do another anchor that way, or sometimes I will just take a strip and go over the top here, and then that covers up the holes on that side, okay? So from the base of the 5th all the way up, your heel should be open, okay? So the calcaneus should be open. So I'll let Erin try to take this off, and then